welcome to another exciting edition of Hidden in the Universal Vault. I'm Ryan, your host, and I thought we'd go ahead and do something a little different. This time we're taking a look at a film. This is a drama, and it starred Emily Watson, Robert Carlyle from Paramount Pictures alongside Universal Pictures, or Universal Pictures International, directed by the late great Alan Parker, 1999's Angela's Ashes. And as you can easily see, this is actually a Paramount title. It says Widescreen Collection. This is indeed a Paramount movie, but the Universal logo is right there. So that is why I'm covering it on the channel. Now that I got that out of the way, what did I think of Angela's Ashes? Let's talk about it. It's not very good. I put it in the category of boring. That's really what this movie is. But if you've never heard of Angela's Ashes, and I certainly have heard of Angela's Ashes, but let's talk about the plot before I get anywhere else. So, Angela's Ashes basically stars Emily Watson and Robert Carlyle. And it follows the story of Frank McCray, I think it is, if I'm looking. Frank McCourt. It focused on the life of Frank McCourt, going all the way from his childhood, and focused on his whole entire life, surviving through the 1930s, surviving through World War II, and it focused on him basically going back to his roots in Ireland. The author who wrote this, the book was written in 1996 and the movie came out in 99. So it basically focused on his life of growing up in, poverty. They didn't have much. It's a very weird time in the 1930s, but it also focused mostly on his parents. Angela, which is Watson's character, Emily Watson, her character is Angela, and the father, I forget who his character's name, but it also focused through narrations of a guy who's supposedly supposed to be the voice of Frank McCourt. So focus on his life and how they're stricken with poverty. They head from New York and head to Ireland to settle his life there, and going through a lot of problems to the point of not being able to afford clothes, food, even shoes. He has to go to an Irish Catholic school and he gets bullied. Then both him and the bully get it worse. In Ireland, their rules are a lot different than here in America. So basically he's punished. The bully's punished by smacking him with a belt 5 times on the hand really hard. And then Frank is up next, but he gets slammed really hard once. And they both boys learn their lesson never to bully. So they also have to learn about religion. Religion. And the strict teacher, there's a scene where he's at the school with no shoes. So the teacher smacks both of his feet and tell him you should have shoes. And then he talks about how Jesus didn't die with shoes, he died with no shoes. So they talk about that. He has to go through confession, and then he has to go through a lot of things. So they talked about that kind of stuff. Then we jump into the middle age where he becomes mid-age. Then they go to him older, and though his father eventually leaves the family and he's on his own. So the mother's just stressing and she's the only one there. And yeah, that's really the gist of what Angela's Ashes is. What I have the best that I mentioned. Trying to think of anything else about the movie that I would say. I don't really know. Though, he does get a stepfather. I forgot to mention, he becomes a telegram He becomes a telegram person who sends out telegrams. And he doesn't even know how to ride the bike, so he'll slip, conk his head right there, and he's like bleeding from the nose, and cheek is all like bruised up. So he drops the last telegram to the girl. She has him come in and then cleans all up, tries to do all that, and says and then tells him, why don't you get some warm clothes? And he's sitting there totally naked in front of the fireplace. So the girl that brings him in grabs his dinger and pulls him over there, and the two of them sort of fall in love. They don't really necessarily make out. She just takes the clothes off and you just see her bra. So they're not really making out. There's also, I'm not going to say what the beginning is, but it felt uncomfortable for me watching it, and I'm not even going to get into that. You're going to have to watch the movie. It's at the very beginning of the film. You're just going to have to watch it. I mean, I don't know. It reminds me of that one scene in Undertow. It's a whole different movie, but it kind of reminds me of the one scene in Undertow where Jane Bell's running and quick flash, that kind of thing. I'm not going to get into that because I don't. There are minors watching this, and I don't want YouTube to axe me for what I'm going to say. So I just kind of want to bring that up. So if you do watch Angela's Ashes, be forewarned. There are some uncomfortable scenes, especially dealing with that kind of stuff. So I also forgot to mention he goes in the Catholic box because he does a lot of things. So he has to go to confession box and talks about how he sinned, and the priest is telling him, no, I shouldn't say, the bishop is telling him to do Hail Marys, say 15 Hail Marys. We'll just say that. I don't know how many there were, but that's the gist of what Angela's Ashes is. I just felt bored with the movie. It's too bad because this would have been a great movie if it didn't bore me. The problem was it just was boring. There really wasn't much. The pacing wasn't good. Oh, they do mention universal reference, The Mummy. They do use one universal reference, and that's shown in the movie The Mummy, the Boris Karloff classic, which I've never seen. But anyways, yeah, I just felt bored. It's such a real disappointment because Alan Parker made Mississippi Burning one of my favorite movies. And it's just, I don't know. There's narration in it, which is pretty good. But I did watch Roger Ebert's review of this, and Roger Ebert said that the movie would be better if they got the real author to do the narration. And I totally agree with what Mr. Ebert said. They should have got a narrator, should have got him to narrate it because he would have made it good. And I've watched a featurette with the real Frank McCourt, and let me tell you, talk about a guy who went through a lot of his life. And though I forgot to mention one more thing before I continue with what I said about the film. There's one particular scene where it shows Frank meeting his middle age and childhood, which is probably sentimental to me. And that's near the end of the film, which kind of got me a little teary-eyed. That's probably the biggest positive. I'm going to say the ending was okay for me to keep this movie. I'm going to say this right now. This is not going to go in my collection. This is going to go back down into my parents' collection. This is not going into my collection. I don't think I'll ever rewatch this one again. The problem again was it was boring. I kept looking at my computer, kept looking at my phone and the screen. There were some moments that were good near the end of the film, and it has a very sentimental ending. The ending is very sentimental and has a very good message. And though the one problem I have, but I'm not going to, I don't want to spoil the ending if you have not seen this. But, I don't know. Something really about this movie didn't really click. Maybe if I watch a second time, but I sort of doubt it. I sort of doubt if I ever watch this one again. But I'm glad I watched it. And I will say, if it wasn't for that ending, this movie would have been the worst list. It's still not good, but it would have not made it on the worst list. If it had a bad ending, this movie would have made it on my worst list. But due to an okay ending, definitely does not qualify to make it on my worst list. Is it the worst movie I watch? No. Like I said again, there's tons of other ones. So let's go ahead and before I go ahead and wrap it up, I think I mentioned everything that I said about it. Let's take a look at the artwork. I do like this artwork. It's really cool, really simple. I like the grays and blacks. And if you look on the back, this is an R-rated film just because it is. But special features include where I did watch a little bit of the making of Angela's Ashes, and it was pretty good. There actually is a teaser and theatrical, but I didn't watch the commentary or any of the other ones, though. And yeah, and if you look on the disc, you can easily tell this is a Universal film. Let me go ahead and pull the disc out and show you why. Right there, Universal. So that is why I'm covering on the channel. So if you guys are wondering why I'm covering Paramount, it's because of that logo right there. So yeah, yeah, I forgot to mention the disc art. That's pretty cool disc art. So yeah, aside from that, and we'll get a pretty good scene though. Yeah, they also go to the confessions, and they have to eat these cookies, which is kind of like the bread of Christ and the blood of Christ. That kind of thing when you go to confession. I've done it once, and it's interesting. So, and it was my first time, and I did it because I wanted to see what that was like. Anyways, so, yeah, I think I mentioned a lot that I said about the film. So, anyways, there we go. Final verdict. Should you see Angela's Ashes? No. I cannot recommend Angela's Ashes. There's no way I can recommend this film. I was disappointed. I'm not going to stop you if you do want to check it out, but personally, me, it would be a no. I would not recommend Angela's Ashes to pretty much anybody. If you are curious and you want a little bit of a history about this guy, then definitely check it out. But there are better biographical movies based on the subject matter that do way better. I can name you one movie that's similar to this, Schindler's List, even though I've not watched it, and I do want to watch it. It's just, you might just want to watch Schindler's List instead. Now Alan Parker will make one more movie for the studio, and his last movie of his film career, The Life and Time of David Gale with Kevin Spacey. I don't have that movie, but I don't think I'll probably ever cover that. If that movie's gonna be something like this, I'm probably never gonna watch it. It was a mess from start to finish. There were a lot of good things like that ending, but as a film in whole, I just can't recommend it. I tried and tried and tried, but I can't. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching my review. Don't even bother watching Angela's Ashes. It's not really worth your time. It's not great. Despite an okay ending, I still can't recommend this. I just cannot. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't. But I'm going to stop there. Once again, thank you guys so much for watching my review, Angela's Ashes. If you do like the content I put on the channel, click like, subscribe, click the bell. Let me know what you guys think of Angela's Ashes. If you guys disagree with me on that, hit me up in the comments. The comments are always open. On any videos I make and any reviews, the comments are always open for anybody to comment. If you tell me that I missed something in it, let me know in the comments. I might get back to you. But yeah, I'm going to stop there. I'm going to say goodnight. And as always, keep watching those Universal movies. And I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.